So, all jokes aside about safety third, we went to put the wheel back on, and that thing got awful precarious. Luckily, we had the 2 jack stands. I grabbed some more just as a precaution. I used my other jack, jacked up the control arm, so we got the wheel on. So at least now it ain't going nowhere. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Diagnostics Done Right, part 2 of the RV adventure. We got our new wheel bearing. We got our old outer wheel bearing. We're gonna pack these full of fresh grease. Get these installed and get this rotor and hub assembly back put on. We got a nifty little tool for packing these wheel bearings. So just tighten this guy down. Get our grease gun. Got some dirt in there. We don't want that going in there. Oh, there we go. And that thing will just fill up with grease. As we pump, pushing that old grease out. I just put a fresh thing of grease in here, so it might take a minute. There she goes. Just want to make sure we force out any old grease. Yeah, we're gonna get a new bearing. I don't trust it. All right. So we have our 2 brand new bearings. Bam, this is the inner one. As soon as I packed that old one with grease, it just bound up. So, not gonna take any chances. That's what we're here for. Just get new ones. I think it was 10 bucks for the inner and like 20, 30 bucks for the outer. So, or vice versa. So no big deal. All right, so we're gonna pack these with grease. Get them installed in the hub. We have, I don't know who makes it, OTC or generic AutoZone brand, but we have this little tool to help us pack the bearings. Of course, it's all filthy. Out here in the desert, it's hard to keep stuff clean. And especially stuff like this, it's imperative to keep it clean. Alright, so take our new inner bearing, pop that guy right there. Screw this bottom on. Tighten her up. The way they sit in there is kind of wonky. But as long as it's screwed in, it's good. And then we just take our handy dandy grease gun. Maybe. We just want to fill this guy up. Maybe. Of course, nothing ever goes as planned. There we go. Now we can start to see the grease coming up through there. This tends to waste a good bit of grease, but yeah, see, big old glob of it right there. But we got it all greased up good. So we'll take this guy off, which is always a pain. Bam. And now we have our perfectly packed bearing. Spread some of that grease around the outside. Pop that guy in. All right, do the same thing with the little outer bearing, and then we'll pop the seal in so that just sits in there, and then we have our seal somewhere. There she is. And we'll pop back in after we get this other bearing packed. Here's the outer bearing, and yeah, as soon as I pack the old one with grease, I could just hear the grit, and she got all bound up. So we'll just go with a fresh one. So same thing, just pop this guy on, drop it. Pump her up. Beautiful. Pop that guy off. Bam. Press the seal on before we pull that out. We don't want to get it getting it dirty. We have to put the spindle or the hub and rotor assembly on, and then the outer bearing goes on after that. So clean up this seal. Clean up the seal, and we'll drive this guy back in. Just like that. Beautiful. Alright. I got some brake clean. We'll clean off the inner of this rotor. Bam. Pop this guy on. Alright, now I'll hold this on. Put the other bearing in. We have our washer. And then finally the nut to hold everything together. So let's get this bearing out. Clean out some of this old grease. Still a little bit of old grease in there. We just want to get as much of it out as we can. Extend the life of the new grease. Right. Take a little new grease. Put it on that outer race. Bam. New bearing. Just pop that guy right on. Maybe. There she goes. Whew. All right. Now, we put our washer, which has the groove there. Clean that guy off. There's a groove in the shaft. that has to slide on. Bam. Little keyway. So it can only go on one way. Take axle nut. Bam. Probably clean this guy off a little bit. This is going under the cap, the grease cap, so anything that's in there will be in there. Bam. And we just snug this guy down. Oh, need a much bigger socket than that there, guy. There she is, 32. Can't see anything. Sockets are filthy. I know there are cotter pin holes on this guy. Bam. Installed. Good to go. Beautiful. All right, we have our grease cap. Clean that guy out. I'm just gonna pack this full of grease. Hopefully without making too much of a mess. Bam. Let's pop this guy on there. Give her a few love taps. Bam, good to go. Okay, all that is left, we gotta put the caliper back on. And snug down these upper control arm bolts. I think we need to jack it up just a bit more. Make sure there's a good amount of tension on them. So these bolts up here, we're just gonna snug up. Once the control arm is down, you can't get in here with anything other than a hand wrench. So we just gotta snug this guy down. Then we'll pop the caliper back on. Just gotta drive that wedge back in. All right, those are good to go. Just pop some grease on all the fittings. Once there's some resistance on these, it's good. This other one's gonna be a pain. I'm gonna have to come around the shock, maybe. Just gotta get a little creative. Bam. Upper ball joint. I'll pump these up till they start to expand. I think these have a weep valve in them, so if you overload it, it'll come out. Yep, right there. You can see that. Drop you down a little bit. It's coming out right the top of the ball joint. Right here. Beautiful bottom. They will also weep when they're full. Clean these up. All right. So we got that loaded up. Each one on the side of the control arms. Lower ball joint loaded up. Good to go. Pop this caliper back on. There's a shot. So the slide pin goes down in this groove down here. And it has to get driven in. Here's the pin. So it's 2-piece. Goes like this. And then this wedge kind of sits in there and it holds tension. So we're gonna try and drive this guy in. It's a little finicky because naturally there's not much room, but we should be able to get it. It's all about just getting it started. Getting it started and be in good shape.
Even just getting one in there is hard enough. Getting both of these in there together is an exercise for sure. So I'm gonna fight with this for a little while. I'll get this guy in. I'll probably just cut to when I get her started. That help count weighs 7 pounds. Rip my jeans some more.
Try and get it from a different angle. Bam. Whew. Yeah. Bam. Back in that guy. Down there. Snug that back up. Oh, bam, first one. Twirl that guy on. Good to go. Snug that guy up. Bam. put on our dummy bolts. I hold the hubcap on. This is just a two-piece design. This one literally does nothing, but then there are supposed to be 3 of them that actually thread on to the remaining threads of the wheel studs. These only had 2 per side. One was broken off. Someone didn't know how to take these off, and instead of just looking, because they just unscrew, they end up messing stuff up. Yeah, so there's just an empty gap in one of these. Because there's supposed to be another one with just that fake thread. We just tighten these up by hand. Don't need to go crazy on them. Bam. Finally done. Finally done. We'll get all of our jack stands. Thank you for joining along with me on my RV adventure. We got a lot accomplished. Took a lot of time. We learned some stuff. Just to recap, we got new sway bar bushings. We got brand new lower ball joints, brand new upper control arms. Everything is greased. Packed the wheel bearings. We replaced both passenger side wheel bearings. Packed those fresh guys with grease. We did a spark plug change and spark plug wires. I'm sure there was some other stuff in there too. But this thing, yeah, customer's gonna be happy. Glad it's finally done. Thank you all for joining along with me. I don't know how this is all gonna look in the end, but we will see you guys next time.